are really respectful. This is a positive show, and now live. Hey everybody, we are live. So we are trying a few things new. Welcome to the TED Show. It's Wednesday, April 11th. I'm super excited. We're live on Instagram and on Facebook, thanks to Bill Moore, who's to my left. You can't see him, but he's doing that. He's fancy. You know who's fancy? Look at my beautiful guest, Miss Secily Wilson. Look how she looks so beautiful. And we have to give a shout out to Korea Gunn for Olivia, right?
Yeah.
I love it. So you walked in, and for a split second, I thought, I don't know her. But she's coming up to say hi to me. Because if you look at your picture of what I posted, and you've got you're wearing Olivia, which is one of Korea's creations.
Absolutely, Korea did a great job for this, and I says, hey, I need something really, really quick because I want to. I've got to be on the show. So
and you look absolutely beautiful. Look, we have all this new stuff coming up. I got to look at it, right? So
yeah.
I want to see their comments, see what. So hey, from Vegas, Neil. So welcome. So. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
You're a big wig. I read your bio. Like, I usually don't read bios.
No,
so it's amazing the people that you've interviewed and the job history or the history of you, which is awesome. So
it's been such a pleasure and a joy doing what I do. I really feel that this gift has been given to me specifically for a real purpose.
So give them a little background. Hey, everybody that's saying hi. Hey, guys.
Hi.
Instagram's new to me, so I love this. We're getting all sorts of interaction. I don't know if I might have ADHD. I'm all over the place. So give them, even though they read your bio, give them a little background.
Well, the background is I'm a former, or never say former, I'm a veteran broadcast journalist, and so that's been my love, using my gift of gab to interview, to inform, to engage the public of what's going on in our community through broadcast news entities. So I started my career in Macon, Georgia, where my sister Pam and my niece Nikki and Janae are all there, but started in Macon, then moved to Tampa, where I was there at the Fox station there as the weekend anchor at Fox 13, and then came over to Local 6 as the morning anchor there for 6 years, and then over to PBS as a host for the Arts Connection, where we won our first Telly Award. And so
that's right, I saw you won a Telly Award.
Yes,
congratulations.
Absolutely. So
doesn't
really
she have the face and the voice for it? Very mesmerizing voice. I think you have to have both, right? You can't just know how to read copy.
No,
you have to really I've had a few, it's interesting, I've had a few newscasters on, and I won't name names, but a couple of them were like, now. I'm assuming they can still hear me on Instagram or wherever we're at. I don't even know Insta, as my kids give me a hard time about. So we're working on the sound, and we've got the video. We've got it all.
Difficulties
we're having,
right
and
now.
I want you to share that one that you want to share about because Lauren Ziegler. So no sound. So we got a lot of no sound comments.
So we're not going to say a whole lot right now.
No, we're totally going to say a bunch.
But we can't, because no one can hear us.
No, they can hear me on Instagram.
I can hear it on my
Okay, tell me again. Sound is back, Tanette. Thank you. All right, it came back. See, this is the great part about the interaction. We could have gone the entire show and nobody would have said anything if I wasn't. And see, I pay attention to you all. I do. I love you. All right, so the challenging one that you were going to talk about, or interesting.
The most memorable.
Yes, memorable.
So back in the day, I remember they had the Million Man March. So that was probably the early 90s, I think. And I was a young journalist in Macon, Georgia.
12.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And we literally had to cover that event. So at that time, the station was very small, and of course they didn't have a budget to send me all the way to Washington to cover the Million Man March. And so I says, I've got to be there. So I used my gift of gab, and I engaged a Congressman, Sanford Bishop. I don't know if you're out there, Sanford, but I hope you remember me. But Sanford Bishop, I was doing an interview at a local university, and he was there, and I went up to him and I said, hey, I want to cover the Million Man March, but I don't have any money, and my station doesn't have any money. Can you help me get there?
Authenticity, vulnerability,
yes.
You put it out there.
Right, put it out there.
With
And
the
he
spin.
said, because you have cojones.
Listen, with this show, with the P word show, I didn't know where we were going.
Because
we'll
you
go with
have
cojones. That's
cojones, then yes, I will help you. And so I covered the Million Man March as a one-man band. There on stage with all these other amazing network reporters and anchors, and I, with my one camera, myself, covered
awesome.
that, and I loved that because that was the most memorable moment.
Don't you feel like the raw interviews, like we're having right now, the raw interviews are so good? I think people engage more when they feel like, you're just there, it's you and the camera. One of the challenges that I'm having with the show is that we want to move forward, but I love this little engagement part. So anyway,
it's connecting.
It's
You're
connecting.
just having a conversation.
We're just
That's what we're doing.
having a conversation.
Yeah.
So all of you who keep saying, no, I cannot possibly come on the TED Show, I'm afraid. Look, it's just Secily and I having a conversation.
Come.
There you all are, technical difficulties. See, people can hear us now, so that's good. All right, so let's talk, before we get to the title of the show, I want you to talk a little bit about, you mentioned domestic violence and stroke awareness. Tell me what's your why behind that? And I think a lot of people love to hear the story as to why somebody's committed to that. It's almost never, well, somebody told me to do that. You either have had a personal experience or had a friend or a family member who had a personal experience. So why those two?
Yeah, those two, especially the domestic violence piece, is because it was my life as a child, experiencing that part of violence domestically and sexually. So I am very passionate about that. And growing up, I just knew that that's what I wanted to really focus on and really make a difference in. And when I won the title of Mrs. Florida in 1999, that was my platform for that year, working closely with domestic violence shelters, sharing that message of, getting out, breaking that cycle. And so that's really, really important to me. And stroke awareness, simply because I'm a 2-time stroke survivor. So working with the American Heart Association and the Stroke Association is really, really important to me, because that message of heart disease is vital, quite frankly. Did you know that the number one target for women, especially African American women and Hispanic women, is heart disease, stroke, and diabetes? Definitely. They will kill you faster than cancer.
So
and
a
that's number
2-time
one.
survivor. So a lot of people think stroke. People really don't know enough about stroke. I've worked with Deanna Cooper-Smith Marquez, who has a foundation called the Scott Cooper-Smith Stroke Awareness Foundation, because her first husband passed away at a very young age, right after they had a baby, of a stroke, like early 30s. Yeah. So it can be a complete killer, or you can be a survivor of it. How is it that it was 2 times? So you had it the first time, and then years later it came back? And
10 years later. Yeah, 10 years later. So I had no idea. Clearly, it's knowing the signs, knowing the warning signs. And for me, it was doing an interview with Valerie Green, a local stroke survivor here in the Orlando area, who I call my stroke angel. She saved my life and she didn't even know it. But it was that story that I did on an early warning signs of a stroke. And so when I did that interview, I just filed it away as we normally do. We do the interview, next on to the next story.
On to the next.
And that's exactly what happened. But I realized that I was having these issues. I was having continuing headaches and blurred vision, and I couldn't speak. There were words that slurred, and I'm like, oh, I just dismissed it simply because I was going through a divorce at the time and getting up at 2 a.m. in the morning to be on and bright and early at 5:30
You thought you were tired and exhausted and just, it was the normal wear and tear on the body.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I dismissed it until that moment on the air when it was lights, camera.
You couldn't speak? Oh, I didn't know that.
I could not speak.
Wow.
So the words were not coming out.
That's got to be, I'm panicked for you. Right?
I was panicked because that's my livelihood.
Wow.
That's what I do. I make my money by speaking.
Wow.
And I could not do that. And so I realized then that that was the first time. That was in, I was turning 40. I was turning 40, so it was 39 when that happened. 10 years later, it happened again. Now I realized that there was a small hole in my heart and the blood was not able to pass through.
How does that get by the doctors for
I
all these
have
years?
no idea.
Is it because you didn't really show any other symptoms?
Any other
and so
signs?
Why would they check for that?
And that's right. And
Wow.
so it wasn't until it was my mother that said, she's not leaving this hospital until you figure out
Gotta love moms.
What? My mom's like, she ain't going nowhere.
No.
And so they found out that that was what it is. And so now I'm on the blood thinners, and fortunately my voice has been restored, and it's really the reason why I'm here today.
But you had a second one.
That was the second one.
Oh, that was the second
That was
one.
the second one. The first
Wow.
one they just attributed to stress. The second one they realized, and that's when my mom said, she doesn't smoke, she doesn't drink, she's pretty fit for the most part, but she
You're
has no
very
signs.
fit, by the way.
Spanx, they do wonders.
You know what? I thought about trying Manx. Have you ever heard of Manx?
No.
The men's Spanx. Actually,
are you
I haven't thought
serious?
about it. One time, Stacy, my wife, bought them as a joke. And I tried to put them on. I literally laughed myself until I almost peed. Honest to God, you can't make that up. I don't know how you all deal with that on a daily
Honey, they are
basis.
lifesavers, honey. Yes.
You
So,
look
yes.
amazing.
Thank you. So having no factors or no symptoms or like that, they just didn't understand. And so finally they found out that that's what it was. And so now my voice has been restored, and here I am.
And here
able
you
to
are.
speak with you again.
All right, and so what we're going to do is I've had a lot of comments, and hopefully everybody can hear us or see us again. I think we're good, right, Bill? Okay, fantastic. But we want to talk about the title of the show because I got a lot of messages going, Ted, is this a family show? Tanette, you love your Spanx. See, you look beautiful
Thank
too. I don't
you,
understand.
Tanette. Yes.
So she said the P word. I had a lot of people going, what are you going to be talking about today? And I've got the church giggles. I just saw the video. So explain to them a little bit about how this all came into play, and give them the background.
Okay, so the background, the P
I
word.
love this story.
Do you like Family Feud?
I love Family Feud.
Do you love Family Feud?
I do. Steve Harvey makes me laugh.
Yeah, he makes me laugh too.
Because his reaction to people is really what it is all about.
That's really
honestly.
what it is. It really is. It's truly not the words, but
It's really not.
it's his reaction. And I grew up watching Family Feud with Richard Dawson.
I loved him. They used to smoke and drink on TV.
Yes, right.
God, what happened to those days?
Yeah, Richard Dawson. So I grew up, and I've always wanted to be on the show. And so when the show was being taped here in the Orlando area at Universal Studios, and I found out about it, I'm like, family, everybody send an email. I know exactly what they're going to look for, right? So they called the Wilson family. And if you know anything about the Wilsons, we're a little special. We're a little special.
You are very special.
Yeah, we're a little special. So the Wilson family, we were selected to be on the show.
How many? Who was there? Your mom?
No, it was
No.
my two sisters and my two cousins, Jamie, Tammy, Danita, and Tanya, and me as the captain. So I was leading the
Wow.
gang, right?
I love it.
And we had a great time. And so we were on our third show, and Fast Money Round came around. And I'm not going to tell you. I want you guys to just Google Secily with an S, Ecily, Wilson, and Family Feud, and you'll see what happens. But basically,
Go ahead. Tell them what the P word is. Well, no. Tell them what the P word was on that show.
yeah, the P word on that show was penis.
Because what did they? This is awesome. What did they ask you, and how did you respond?
Okay, so I
on,
want you to go. I want you to
working.
Google that on YouTube.
Yeah.
But so I'll give you the high level version. Basically, the Fast Money round. My sister Tanya was first up, and she got 23 points. That was it. And I was like, oh my gosh. So I really needed to get this money because we needed that money, right? I'm like, okay. So I'm up, and they said, Steve asked the question. Are you ready? Yes. Okay. Here's the question. We surveyed 100 men. Name something that's larger now than it was at the age of 16. And I instinctively said, penis.
I mean, that's the right answer, isn't it? I guess not. 0 people. You know why? Because you surveyed men, and men will never admit that.
Right,
They don't want to talk about it.
Right.
It was always that big.
Yeah,
Not.
right. So penis was that word, and unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, it went viral. I mean, viral everywhere. Like memes are everywhere.
Well, because Steve Harvey's reaction
Because
to
of
you
thank you
is amazing.
It was
right?
the reaction, and people were like, "Cecily, did you plan that?" I'm like, "No."
You were very composed, I thought. Honest to God, you were so composed.
I was very composed.
I would have been laughing until I don't know, I would have been 10 shades of red.
Well, so let me just tell you the backstory of what was going on. So at that moment, I had my divorce was finally over, and I was in transition. I hit a layoff and everything, so things were like spiraling out of control for me. And so that moment, I'm like, okay, if I get on the show, then I can get to Steve Harvey. He can help me get to the business again,
I
open
love
up
the
the door.
transparency. That's
So
awesome.
I literally had a plan.
Of course you
I had a
did.
plan.
That's the other P word, by the way. We'll talk about that.
Yes. And so the plan was to make sure that I got a chance to meet with him. And so what people didn't know on the show, so in the business, we have something called our video reel. We have a resume reel, and it's a tape of all the things that we do. And so because I knew I would only have a split second to speak with him afterwards because I know the business, right?
Sure.
I'm like, okay, I've got to be strategic about this. So what did I do? So I put my video reel on mini discs.
Yeah, of course you did.
So the mini disc I placed on my breast. And so I had them inside my bra.
I mean, come on.
I'm being very real. This is the backstory of what people did not know.
I'm loving it.
So if they could probably zoom in on the camera, I'm
They'd
sure
see it in
they're
there.
like, wow, okay, there's something going on over there, right? But I had the video reels in my breast. And so when we were voted off, or when we lost, he came over and he says, hey, we're sorry, glad you're here, whatever. He says, hey, by the way, I'd love to chat with you. I'm in the business, as you know, and I would love to chat with you. I have something I'd like to share with you. He says, okay, well, you can give it to my assistant. I says, no. Immediately, bam, here it is.
Steve Harvey's got to love that, though.
And his eyes were like, okay. So it was that moment that I knew I had to seize the opportunity.
Correct.
And so again, that plan was on purpose.
Because let's talk about that. So the P word, obviously, that's where that stemmed from, and you should 100% write a book or do a video or whatever it is.
Maybe I should.
You should about that. But it's more than just that.
Yeah, no.
Obviously, that's a play on words that we wanted to talk about here, which is a great story. You definitely need to Google Secily Wilson Family Feud.
It gets
It's
people
hilarious.
talking. It gets people talking.
But but isn't it amazing how that happens? Something like that happens, and that is kind of your catalyst or your epiphany, and go, all right, well, I can take that. I can take that moment that's gone viral or that meant something that was funny, and now you're able to take that to the next level and utilize it in your life. So talk a little about talk about the other P word.
The P word, the real P word. The reason why we chose this as a topic this morning is because P really, for me, really stands for purpose. It really stands for prayer. It really stands for plan and power. These are all those P words and persistence that help move Secily along this journey. And so my life has been one that is one of resilience. That's been the number one word I think I can say that my life has been built on is resilience. How do you bounce back after life has fallen completely apart for you, whether as a child or even as an adult?
So a lot of people will say, okay, that's great. I believe you. How did you bounce back? Like what were some of the things you had? A strong family, but people are like, did she have a strong family background? Was she just gifted with it? Faith. What was it, do you think, that allowed you to be so resilient?
My family and prayer. Number one, I'm a woman of faith and I love the Lord immensely. And that is really what I realized, that Secily, you have a purpose. There have been many times where my life could have been shattered or diminished or whatever, but my mother is very, very strong, and my sisters have my back all the time.
I love that.
And even my girlfriends, they're, you have your ride or die chicks. Well, I don't know what you guys call them, but I call them ride or die chicks.
I like it.
Right?
I'll call them that too.
Right. So my ride or die chicks are those girlfriends and my sister tribe who really help me wake up,
Right.
when I'm having that pity party, or if I'm having a funk or something, they're like, snap out of it.
Right.
You're better than this. We got you. Let's keep it moving.
Because it's so easy to get caught up when you're having a rough time. I'm doing a presentation tonight on toxicity. So if you've got this toxic, you're surrounded by toxicity, toxic people, or you're having those thoughts, it's actually easier to just lay down and have a pity party and stay under your covers. And in reality, you need people to build you up. You need people around you that will help you get out of it.
Absolutely. And I really say that people can either break you or they can make you.
Agreed.
Right? And so my mom used to say, birds of a feather flock together. I was always told that you surround yourself with the people that you like to be
Agreed.
like, right? So if you're always around negative, vindictive, ugly people, then ultimately you're going to be negative, ugly, and vindictive, right? But if you surround yourself with the people like Ted,
she's so
and those who are doing things and making differences in the community and that are striving in their area of focus, then you know what? I can learn from him. I want to be my best friend. Let's do that. So yes,
Correct.
That's
and
important.
I think it's so important. I think it's so great to, and it's not easy. And that's one of the messages that I'd love to get out to you guys. We're saying it, and we still struggle with it on a daily basis.
Today.
Seriously, every single day, almost even this morning, I had to struggle with it. It's not an easy path to take. It's definitely not the path of least resistance, because you want to just go with the flow. You don't want to rock the boat. You want to just go, oh my God, my life is crazy and terrible, and I've got this, and this to do. It's not easy to come out of that, but you have to continue to push through. And if you don't have that support system in place,
it's called persistence.
I love the persistence part. That's also a P word, persistence, because what happens is, remember, it's about the war, not the battle. And so you are going to have many battles that you're going to fight that you're not going to feel like you won, but it's all about the overall, what you're doing, the persistence of it, which is what Secily talks about.
And you know what? I think when you think about who you are, you got to figure out, what is my purpose? Why am I here? Because we struggle with that. Even when my life fell apart after having a stroke on air, going through a divorce, losing my home to foreclosure, losing all of my finances. I mean, it was just like a freaking cycle of right? And I wondered, I really struggled is, why am I here?
Correct.
Why am I here? Maybe I would just be better if I would just go away.
Yeah.
So you've got to think about, no, you've got a purpose. And so I thought about that when my voice was taken away, not once, but twice. What's my purpose? My purpose is to empower. My purpose is to inspire. My purpose is to make sure that I'm able to intentionally leave someone's life positive and better than the way that they came into it.
One life, people. That's something that Secily just said. So let's say you're listening and you're going, okay, but she's been a news anchor. She's talked to Oprah. I can't do that. I'm not in the place to do that. Trust me, one life. And it could be your life that you're making the impact on, but I promise you, if you're planting the seeds, which planting is one of the things you were talking about, you're planting the seeds, I promise you that if you are faithful and patient, which is another P word.
Yeah, the promise. I love what you said about promise. The promises of God are always true. So
always.
Always.
But wherever your faith mind is, remember, it's about the long game. And I'm not a sports guy, but I understand this. Mm-hmm. It's not about the short moves. It's about that long game. And you really do have to focus on that. If you allow these small little things that get to you on a daily basis to rule your life, then you're going to have issues.
Let me give you another backstory here, because when I started my nonprofit, which is WOW Legacy Group, WOW Legacy Group, I was sitting in my bedroom and with all of the shoes and clothes that I had, because clearly that's what I do,
I
right?
get it. I have a lot of shoes
I
too.
know, right?
I'm a
How
shoe
many?
person.
How many?
I don't know. My wife will tell you, but it's got to be in the 50 range.
Okay, I'm 250.
Nice. All right. Good. I feel better about myself.
Yes. So I had all of these shoes, and I'm talking to my ride or die chick, Satura, and I'm talking to her about, I've got all these shoes, I've got all these clothes, and I don't know where to put it because I don't have my big house anymore. What am I going to do, right? And she says, shut up and quit your whining.
Right.
And she told me to go find a group of women in transition and give them to them.
Oh my God, that's
And I says, well, I don't have any more money. My money's all gone. What do I have? I have nothing. What do I have to give? You have 250 pairs of shoes. Go give them 50 of those shoes.
right.
That one move, you know the saying Cinderella, one pair of shoes can change a person's life?
Yes.
That's what happened with the 50 pairs of shoes that we created fall into fabulous. So when life falls apart for women, oftentimes we get paralyzed and we're stuck. And sometimes we feel like we're alone in that cycle and we can't get up. And so we fall into fabulous. What does fabulous look like? Fabulous is less of this, but it's more the decision to do something different, to get up out of your pity party.
Correct.
And to say, I got this. My sister girls, they got my back. We're going to go forward. We're going to move. We're going to make a difference. And that's how that has all played out. So when you're saying, what do I have to give? What's your purpose? Find what your purpose is. I thought my purpose for years was to get to network and be on the anchor desk and to just share my gift of gab. No, but my purpose is beyond that. My purpose is to use my voice, which is why I believe it was restored to me.
To use your voice. I
To
love
use
that.
my
That's
voice
awesome.
to inspire, to empower, and to educate other women who are in the same place that I have been and that I'm in right now, that period of transition.
So we're going to share all of Cecily's contact information, how to reach out to her, everything about her nonprofit. You've been a joy. Wow, what a joy to have you on.
Are we
here. I
over
appreciate it.
now?
Oh, we are so past over.
Oh
That's
my
the great part about it.
No!
So leave them with any parting words of wisdom that you'd like to leave them with.
Oh, parting words of wisdom. Oh, no, no. I want you to hear this, because I've been told no so many times. But here's the thing. I don't really know what no means. I think it's like, you mean not right now or what? So no, when you hear it, when you see it, it means next opportunity. Don't let it stop you. Don't let it block you. Don't let it slow you down. Just say, okay, no, that means next opportunity. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
I love that. All right. No means next opportunity. All right. Honestly, God, this has been awesome. Thank you. And thank you guys.
That was too short.
It goes by so fast, doesn't it? It's too short. But the problem is that people, you never know what's going on with technology. You never know what's happening with people's attention span. People also watch this later on. I have people that actually say, I binge watch the show, Ted. I love you guys for saying that, by the way. We love you guys so much. Thanks for putting up with us today. Bill Moore, thank you for being the technology guy on this side. Cecily, you are seriously a joy, and I appreciate you sharing everything that you did.
Thank you.
The vulnerability and the authenticity. You
This is
can't
me.
make this up. Purpose, people. It's all about purpose.
It's all about
That's the P
purpose.
word. All right, we love you guys. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
can be so distracted, but she could